Introduction: The Battle Within. In the shadows of our everyday lives, there is a war that rages. It is not the type of war that can be seen, heard, or even directly felt. This war takes place in the quiet corners of our minds, in the depths of our souls. It is a battle between who we are and who we are called to become. Every moment of hesitation, every impulse we fail to control, every emotion that overwhelms us, these are skirmishes lost. Yet we seldom understand that the ultimate victory is not external. It is not about conquering the world or bending others to our will. It is about mastering the self. The ancient Stoics, Zeno, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius Seneca, knew this. Their lives, often filled with pain, exile, loss, and hardship, were not defined by those events, but by their response to them. They understood a fundamental truth. To live well is to live in harmony with nature and reason. And in this understanding lies the answer to one of the greatest questions humanity has ever faced. How do we discover our true life purpose? How do we move forward, despite the chaos, the suffering, and the distractions that surround us? It begins by looking inward. It begins by mastering ourselves. And only then can we move forward with clarity, strength, and unwavering purpose. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Control. We live under a constant illusion, a lie we tell ourselves daily, that we are in control. We plan, we manipulate, we anticipate, all in the hope of bending reality to our will. But how often does this approach leave us frustrated, bitter, or lost? The Stoics understood that control is an illusion. The only true control we have is over ourselves, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses to the world. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are in our control, and others not." The distinction is simple, but it is everything. We believe that by controlling external circumstances, we can create a life of happiness and meaning. Yet, the more we chase this mirage, the more distant our purpose becomes. The Stoic approach is different. It begins with letting go of the false idea that we can dictate what happens to us. Instead, we learn to control the only thing that truly matters, ourselves. Reflect on this. What if you stopped trying to control the uncontrollable? What if you turned inward and mastered your own mind? How different would your life be if you understood that nothing outside of you is truly yours? Chapter 2. Know Thyself. Before we can discover our purpose, we must first understand who we are. The Delphic maxim, "Know thyself," was not just advice, it was a command. Yet self-knowledge is not as simple as we might think. Most people go through life assuming they know themselves, but they live in ignorance of their deeper motivations, desires, and fears. True self-knowledge requires brutal honesty. It demands that we confront the parts of ourselves that we hide from the world, and often from ourselves. The Stoics practiced self-examination daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." How can we expect to find our true purpose if we don't even understand who we are? Take a moment to reflect on this. What drives you? What are you running from? What emotions control you? And why? Seneca said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." If we spread ourselves thin, if we live without focus or self-awareness, we cannot expect to find meaning. Purpose comes from within, and that requires deep, unflinching self-knowledge. Chapter 3. The Weight of Desire. At the heart of our struggle lies desire. We want, we crave, we yearn. We believe that by acquiring more, whether it be wealth, status, pleasure, or recognition, we will somehow find fulfillment. But desire, as the Stoics knew, is a double-edged sword. It can drive us forward, but it can also consume us, leaving us hollow and directionless. The Stoics taught that desire must be mastered, not indulged. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, said, "The goal is to live in accordance with nature." And by this he did not mean that we should indulge in every natural impulse, but that we should align ourselves with the rational, harmonious order of the universe. What does this mean for us today? It means we must learn to discern between what is truly necessary and what is simply a fleeting want. Purpose is not found in the accumulation of things, but in the mastery of desire. When we can let go of the constant need for more, we open ourselves to a deeper, more fulfilling life. Ask yourself, what are you pursuing right now and why? Is it truly in line with your deeper values, or is it a distraction? Are you being led by your desires, or are you leading them? Chapter 4. Embrace adversity. One of the greatest misconceptions of modern life is the belief that adversity is something to be avoided at all costs. We are told to seek comfort, to eliminate pain, to shield ourselves from hardship. But the Stoics saw things differently. They believed that adversity is the crucible in which our true selves are forged. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who faced unrelenting challenges, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is not mere rhetoric, it is a profound truth. Adversity is not the enemy of purpose, it is the pathway to it. Only through challenge and struggle can we discover what we are truly made of. How often do we shrink away from difficulty, thinking that life should be easy? How often do we avoid the hard path because we fear failure, pain, or discomfort? And in doing so, we deny ourselves the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to discover our purpose. Seneca reminds us, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. To find our purpose, we must embrace adversity, not run from it. We must see every challenge as an opportunity to test our resolve, to refine our character, and to move closer to the person we are meant to become. Chapter 5. The Power of Virtue. In Stoic thought, virtue is the highest good. But what is virtue? And how does it relate to finding our purpose? Virtue, in the Stoic sense, is not a passive state of being good. It is an active, living force that drives our actions, our thoughts, and our decisions. It is the pursuit of excellence in all things, guided by reason, justice, courage, and self-discipline. Epictetus taught that virtue is the only thing truly within our control. No man is free who is not master of himself. And this mastery of the self is what leads to a purposeful life. When we align our actions with virtue, we are no longer driven by external desires or fleeting emotions. We are guided by a higher standard, one that transcends the temporary and the trivial. Consider this. How would your life change if you lived each day with virtue as your guide? What decisions would you make differently? What would you let go of? What would you strive toward? Chapter 6. Overcoming destructive emotions. One of the greatest obstacles to discovering our purpose is the presence of destructive emotions. Fear, anger, jealousy, resentment, these emotions cloud our judgment, distort our perception, and lead us astray. The Stoics understood that emotions, when unchecked, are destructive forces, but they did not advocate for the suppression of emotion. Rather, they taught us to manage and transform it. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Our emotions are often based on perceptions, not facts. By changing our perceptions, we change our emotions. To discover our purpose, we must first overcome the emotions that hold us back. This requires vigilance, self-awareness, and a commitment to rational thought. It requires us to step back and question our initial reactions, to challenge our assumptions, and to cultivate emotional resilience. Ask yourself, what emotions are controlling you right now? How are they shaping your actions? And more importantly, how can you transform them into something productive, something that moves you forward rather than holding you back? Chapter 7. Living in accordance with nature. The Stoics believed that to live a good life, we must live in accordance with nature. But what does this mean? It means recognizing that we are part of a larger whole, a universe governed by reason and order. It means accepting that we are not isolated individuals but interconnected beings, bound by the laws of nature. This understanding is essential for discovering our purpose. Purpose is not something we invent for ourselves. It is something we uncover by aligning with the natural order. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you have been given, and truly love the people with whom destiny has surrounded you." We must stop fighting against the natural flow of life. We must accept what comes our way, not as an obstacle, but as part of the journey. This does not mean passive acceptance or fatalism. It means actively engaging with life as it is, not as we wish it to be. Conclusion: moving forward with purpose. The path to discovering our true purpose is not an easy one. It requires self-discipline, courage, and an unwavering commitment to personal growth. It requires us to look inward, to master our desires, and to embrace adversity as a teacher. It requires us to live with virtue, to overcome our destructive emotions, and to align ourselves with the natural order of the universe. But if we can do this, if we can walk this path with integrity and strength, we will discover a purpose that is not fleeting or superficial but deep, lasting, and true. We are all on this journey together, and while the path may be difficult, it is also one filled with meaning. So let us walk it with courage, with conviction, and with the understanding that the only true way forward is through mastery of the self. The Stoics have shown us the way. Now it is up to us to walk it. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius.